There used to be a time when the deacons at Woke United Methodist had unrivaled power. And when I say used to be a time, I'm talking about 6, 7, 8 months ago. It wasn't all that long ago. There used to be a time when the threat of being canceled was a legitimate threat. Matter of fact, it was a dual threat. The deacons would attack you through mainstream media, social media, causing you to receive a mountain of negative publicity. Not Mount Rushmore. We are not allowed to use Mount Rushmore anymore thanks to Father Jalen Rose. Nowadays, it's just a mountain of negative publicity. This negative publicity, though, it would also have a detrimental impact on you financially. With us living in a constantly changing news cycle, it's kind of easy to forget how much cancellation power that the deacons used to have. Kanye West, this dude was once beloved by those who spanked the wanker. The cancellation of Kanye West last year cost him hundreds of millions of dollars. Think about it. When is the last time you've heard anything about Kanye West? Roseanne Barr, her sitcom returning to ABC, immediately jumped to #1 in the ratings. Just like the 90s, Roseanne had the #1 show on television. She makes one comment, I think it was about Valerie Jarrett. The deacons at Woke United Methodist, they used the power of the media to cancel her. Kurt Schilling. Kurt Schilling's one of many who's been silenced by ESPN. If I remember correctly, ESPN fired Kurt Schilling because he said that grown men should not be allowed to share a restroom with teenage Tina, or something to that effect. That simple statement was grounds for termination at the worldwide leader in woke. But you get the point. The deacons used to have immense power. The mainstream media, they used to have influence. They used to have the power to shape the narrative. That is no longer the case. April 1st, 2023 is a day that changed America. That was the day that Bud Light publicly admitted that they were entering into holy matrimony with Bob Dylan Mulvaney. That simple marriage, that union between two woke lovers, that pushed normal people past their breaking point. The deacons finally managed to push normal people too far. For the first time, the deacons took a clear shot at the average American male, and American men responded back with force. For years, normal people have been begging for someone to put a stop to cancel culture. Most of us are not okay with people losing their jobs over words. Most of us aren't okay with people being silenced because we could be the next target. That simple request to, cancel culture, that simple request fell on deaf ears. So what did normal people do? They began to fight back. They stopped asking, they stopped talking, and started acting. Don't take my word for it. If you don't believe me, just go ask Jason Aldean. A couple of weeks ago, the mainstream media tried to cancel Jason Aldean. I'm sure you guys are well aware by now of his hit song, Try That in a Small Town. We have covered it extensively here on the channel. Now, the song was originally released back in May. No one noticed. No one gave a shit. The song didn't gain any traction until CMT traded in their balls for a merce. Hell, I'm not even going to call it a merce. CMT traded in their balls for a purse. They issued a statement saying that they were refusing to play Jason Aldean's video because it could be triggering to people like Joy Reid. Boy, Joy could hear this song and be reminded of the painful time affirmative action got her into Harvard. Jason Aldean has been releasing music for over 20 years now. Got his start in the late 90s, but didn't release his first studio album until 2005. From 2005 to last year, Jason Aldean released 11 studio albums. God only knows how many singles that he's released. Over 20 years in the music business, Jason Aldean has never had a #1 single on the Billboard Hot 100. Sure, he's had plenty of #1 singles on the country music charts. He's had an amazing career in the industry of country music, but there's a huge difference in being a country music star and crossing over into the mainstream. Over 20 years of making music, Jason Aldean never crossed over into the mainstream until now. For the first time in his career, Jason Aldean has the #1 song in America. He's topped the Billboard charts. Obviously, he's got the mainstream media to thank for this. If the media never pretended to be outraged with this song, it would be unknown. I don't listen to country music. You could ask me to name the top singers in modern country music. I wouldn't be able to name one. Now I can, Jason Aldean. But Jason Aldean reaching the top of the Billboard charts, this is not really about him. It's not about Jason Aldean. I mean, I'm happy for him. Seems like a nice dude. He seems to be willing to be a voice for normal people. That's all well and good, but like I said, this is not really about him. Jason Aldean, he is just the current symbol. Once again, normal people are sending the mainstream media and the cancel culture vultures a clear message. Fuck you. Normal people have taken the tool of cancel culture and they have flipped it on woke United Methodist. Anytime the media pushes for someone to be canceled, normal people, they go out and support them. They have finally come to the realization that they have all the power. And the thing is, the media knows it. The mainstream media knows their influence is diminishing. Right now, the top 3 spots on the Billboard Hot 100, they are being held by country music artists. This is the first time in history that this has happened. Jason Aldean, Morgan Wallen, and Luke Combs. Now, what do all 3 of these men have in common? They have all faced threats of cancellation by the mainstream media. They tried to cancel Morgan Wallen after he was caught on tape using racial slurs. They tried to cancel Luke Combs because he had the audacity to cover a Tracy Chapman song. Remember that article a couple of weeks ago in the Washington Post? This is so disappointing! Tracy Chapman recorded this classic 30 years ago. America rejected this song when it came from a marginalized woman. But when the white man sings it, the song tops the charts. The media last year, they tried to shit on the latest version of Top Gun. This movie is hideous. I am so emotionally triggered when I see the American flag. I hate America! The shitfucks responsible for the Oscars, they completely snubbed this movie. How did normal people respond? Film grossed almost $1.5 billion. Remember how I said in the beginning the threat of cancellation was a dual threat used by the deacons and the media? Well, normal people, they have taken that dual threat and they used it against them. Not only are they supporting people who face the threat of cancellation, they are also canceling businesses that don't align with their values. We have covered the cancellation of Bud Light extensively here on the channel, but it has been a little while since we have talked about Target. For some reason, Target's not receiving the same level of media coverage that we're seeing with Bud Light. Back in May, executives at Target, they decided that they wanted to start the celebration of Woke Christmas a few weeks early. Now, for those that don't know, Woke Christmas, it is celebrated in June. For a full 30 days, identifiers take over streets in major cities to hold their celebration of Pride. Target, they wanted to start the celebration a few weeks early. Now, I don't know this for a fact, but it seems like they are trying to turn Pride Month into Pride Season. Eventually, it will be Pride Year. 365 days of Pride with a special celebration to be held on leap years. Target, they decide to accommodate the identifiers by offering tuck-friendly bathing suits to male birthing persons. Men who aspire to be women but are having trouble financing the transition. They need appropriate swimwear for those pesky summer months that the media describes as global warming. Luckily, Target had them covered. Literally. Problem was, Target was also offering tuck-friendly bathing suits and sizes to accommodate children. Not only that, they were marketing the damn things to children. The mainstream media, they covered the Target backlash for about a week. I see articles every day in my newsfeed talking about the decline of Bud Light. Rarely do I see the media covering Target. Earlier this week, the financials for the second quarter of 2023 were released to the public. There was only one color on Target's balance sheet: red. During the peak of the backlash in mid-May, Target lost $9 billion in value in 7 days. During the month of June, the peak of woke Christmas, this is the time where all the pride paraders are buying their costumes. This is the time when all the men are buying their bikinis. Libraries who host drag queen story time with children. This is the time of the year they're buying all those amazing books like The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and His Husband Finn. When companies like Bud Light and Target are asked why they are marketing to specific demographics, they always say the same thing. They always say they are trying to appeal to the identifiers. These people represent billions of dollars in revenue. We want their business. Very interesting. You're sacrificing the business of your core customers to appeal to a new and improved demo. So, how did that demo return the favor? During the month of woke Christmas, Target lost $15 billion. Their stock price has dropped almost 20% in the past 3 months. Ever since Donald Trump was elected, the mainstream media, they have tried to divide the country. They use the Fauci mask to create division. If you refuse to wear the Fauci mask, you are a selfish, uneducated redneck. If you wore only one mask, they demanded that you wear 2. After that didn't work, they tried to divide the country on mythical racism. Once that didn't work, they tried mythical misogyny. Hell, they have been trying since the 1960s to turn women against men. Once that didn't work, they started using the LGBT community to create division. And that is where they took it too far. Once they started messing with the kids, normal people finally started to push back. Now, the country's still divided, there's no doubt about that, but the division seems to be diminishing. Normal people from all backgrounds, black, white, straight, gay, transgender, whatever, doesn't matter the background, doesn't matter your race or your sexual orientation. Most people can agree you don't fuck with children. The divide now seems to be between the mainstream media and the rest of us. The media wants someone canceled, people support them. The media wants someone like Jamel Hill or Bomani Jones supported, people ignore them. But give me your thoughts. Jason Aldean, number 1, crosses over into the mainstream. Target loses $15 billion in 30 days. Bud Light obviously in the pooper. What started as a boycott of Bud Light seems to have transitioned into a battle between normal people and the media and woke corporations. Do you think it's sustainable? Is this the new normal? Have people finally reached the point where they are willing to keep this going? I honestly think so, but what about you? You let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.